And we are back with the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Just kind of reflect on what we talked about real quick. We had our WWE Monday Night Raw review. We had our WWE NXT preview, and now we're going to jump on into AEW's biggest mistake of letting go of CM Punk. But before we get into that, I want to remind you guys to use the tips and donations link at the GSMCpodcast.net. Shoot me your questions, comments, and concerns. Tell me what you like. Tell me what you don't like. Tell me what you want to see in terms of future storylines, maybe some future champions, maybe your predictions for WWE SummerSlam. But yeah, it's all gravy. It's all gravy, baby. Once again, leave a positive review here at the GSMC Sports Network. We do love a lot of peace, love, and positivity. Also, remember to Superman punch that like and subscribe button. Follow the show. Follow the network, GSMC Sports Network. Once again, tell me how you feel at the GSMCpodcast.net. All right, so let's go ahead and dig on into our segment. We're going to talk about how CM Punk basically, him getting let go of AEW was probably the stupidest thing that AEW could possibly do. All right, so CM Punk had an altercation with Jack Perry in London at All In, and it was reportedly so that it was not the only reason why Tony Khan's promotion of AEW ultimately kind of let CM Punk go. Tony Khan, according to eyewitnesses, felt physically threatened by CM Punk, and I'm like, okay, like physically threatened, like even after you had you had conversations, you had interviews, you also had segments on podcasts on like sports and stuff like that. That CM Punk was like, dude, like I did not do anything to kind of threaten his life, but even Tony Khan was like, you know what? Like I don't know if he we all know how CM Punk is. We're wrestling fans. We all know how he is. Could be a little confrontational at times. Could be a little demanding. Could perhaps one of those people that has a creative control clause in their contracts like Hulk Hogan did with WCW. But you know, I know Tony Khan is a good owner. He's a good owner. He generally cares about his superstars, but just because he's a good owner doesn't necessarily mean he does great for the company. And a lot of people, well, not a lot of people, a lot of sources in terms of professional wrestling, you read articles and stuff like that, and you're like, man, you know what? Tony Khan, he's a great guy, but perhaps, like sometimes in the world of, even in the business world, you might have a boss that's too lenient, turns the other cheek from time to time, way so often. That's a little bit too nice. And you're like, oh my God, I freaking love that guy. Like, that's so awesome. But at the same time, like, you could get taken advantage of. I'm not saying 1,010% that's what CM Punk did, but I definitely think obviously there's a lot of other factors that kind of go into it, and we're going to talk about them right now. I feel like Tony Khan was never able to kind of communicate effectively or reason with CM Punk because that was his problem with WWE to kind of begin with. So when when you think about that, and when it's kind of been confirmed, you're kind of like, oh, okay, now it kind of makes sense. Now it kind of makes sense why CM Punk never really made it within AEW. Obviously, you kind of had Cody Rhodes start with the Young Bucks, the Elite, Kenny Omega. Like, it's just not the same. And the president, Tony Khan, it's like to the point where you have to consider who the hell you're trying to complain to. And CM Punk, like we all know, like he likes to push the limits. He likes to push the envelope a little bit. Like at the same time, you're like, why do you do that, CM Punk? Why? But at the same time, as WWE fans, as AEW fans, you kind of look at it, you're like, okay, that's kind of why we dig this dude. That's the reason why we kind of like it. So, I have a chat right here from my man. He's like, oh, great, here we go. After that's why Tony Khan is letting go to CM Punk when he's going after Jack Perry. I mean, if you're trying to pay the guy throughout the year, but Punk doesn't want to make a deal, yeah, that's true too. Honestly, I'm gonna give that to you. I'm gonna give that honestly 1,010%. When it comes to a business, when it comes to WWE, when it comes to a wrestling promotion, you kind of have to come to this understanding, especially with the other wrestlers. But according to backstage, interviews and stuff like that, CM Punk was never really disliked backstage. Obviously, he did have a brawl within the Elite, and then he had that little stint with Jack Perry, and then with Tony Khan. CM Punk, obviously, as a younger guy, when he came back to WWE, he apologized. He was like, look, like, he didn't say he was the B word, but he was like, dude, honestly, I was kind of being a little B. Like, I'm man enough to admit whenever I'm wrong. And maybe perhaps he did learn his lesson going into a more, kind of like an outsourced, kind of more not distinctive wrestling promotion, a little more, I don't want to say reproach because at the time you have AEW trying to establish their name, trying to establish the creativity, trying to establish the way that they want their promotions to kind of go. And then you have CM Punk come in. Obviously, everyone's super excited to see Punk. WWE fans, wrestlers backstage. You have a bunch of fans backstage. It's it's hard. It's something that wrestling that, you love it for the same reasons, kind of, you love CM Punk for the same reasons, kind of why you hate him. It's because he's not afraid to kind of push that envelope. And when he hits those promos where he mentions, and still to this day, he's still talking trash about AEW. And then when he was with AEW, he was talking trash about the WWE. That's just CM Punk. That's just the way he is. That's just his character. That's his persona. Absolutely kind of crazy. But while announcing Punk's departure on Collision, you can see the anger in fans. You can see the anger in fans from Tony Khan. They took Tony. Tony Khan has some giant wibbles going out there, and he was like, you know what? Although, Collision's in Chicago, CM Punk's hometown, I'm going to walk out there and tell him what's what. CM Punk is no longer with the company. For the first time in my career, I have felt I have felt threatened. And a lot of fans were absolutely irate. You read reviews online. You check out some Reddit views about the whole CM Punk and the whole, Tony Khan kind of relationship within AEW. And Warner Brothers Discovery gave the green light show for AEW Collision happening on Saturdays, mostly because CM Punk. But once when CM Punk left, Warner Brothers Discovery, they were kind of like, all right, yeah, that's cool. Yeah, we won't cancel you guys, and no, we support your decision of letting go to CM Punk. But in reality, they didn't. They didn't. Who'd want to? Do you see CM Punk right now on WWE? He can create a show on his own. Monday Night Raw is basically the CM Punk show without the Judgment Day kind of drama. CM Punk could go out there, create promos. He can kind of dictate a show all around him throughout 3 hours. That's pretty damn impressive. So, I don't know. It's kind of crazy. Another altercation, including the Hangman Adam Page, Kenny Omega, and the Young Bucks, kind of happened. Cody Rhodes, after he departed from AEW in 2022, and then you had the brawl happen September of 2023. I don't know. Could Cody Rhodes have kind of been the glue to kind of hold AEW, the Elite, Tony Khan, and CM Punk together? Cody Rhodes was kind of like, he kind of kept that professionalism. Kind of kept that professionalism. He left AEW for personal reasons. And we're going to dig into that in our next segment. But I don't know. It's just kind of crazy. I don't know. CM Punk is he's a show in and itself. He went from taking shots at WWE, taking shots at AEW now. CM Punk, he is a little injury prone. He's getting older. He's up there. But was it the right decision for AEW to kind of let him go? Honestly, at this point, I don't really see it happening. Like I said, Cody Rhodes leaving. Cody Rhodes and CM Punk were pretty close. They were quote unquote dinner buddies and stuff like that on the road. And then once when you kind of have that glue, once when you kind of have that, like, all right, Cody, as soon as you leave, I can't say stuff. I can't say anything about where my character is going. It's in the hands of these two guys, Matthew and Nicholas Jackson, also Kenny Omega. And Cody Rhodes is like, you know what? I feel for you, CM Punk, but ultimately, I kind of want to go back to WWE because I am having my own issues with this promotion that I have created. So a lot of drama, a lot of stuff. Obviously, not a lot of no, perhaps maybe it might be a little scandalous thinking that there could be a little of a little jealousy, a little stick it to you that once when Cody Rhodes came to WWE, they're like, look, AEW couldn't do it, but we're gonna put Cody Rhodes on the map and we're just gonna stick it to AEW. That possibly could have been it as well. I'm kind of crazy. All right, guys, do not go anywhere. We're going to talk about our next segment. We're going to talk about why Cody Rhodes left AEW. Do not go anywhere. Grab your favorite snack, grab your favorite beverage, and let's talk about some good old fashioned wrestling. So, hey, stay beautiful and stay tuned.